ES Audio.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Travers, and this is the Evening Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, is this the key to living to 100? Now, let's get into it. The reviews are in for the Meta Quest 3, its mixed reality headset.
This Quest 3 has two cameras on the front of the headset, which basically feed back a digital rendering of the outside world to the screens that you're seeing when you put the headset on. So the plus side is that you get to see your living room in beautiful graphic detail. And even better, it allows to superimpose graphics, games, apps and stuff like that onto effectively like the real world.
That's Vicky Jessop, who writes about gaming for the Evening Standard. She's been testing out the new mixed reality headset and says it's a big step up from Meta Quest 2.
So there's a lot more pixels per eye in the Meta Quest 3. The mixed reality was very impressive. Another new feature that they've brought on is hand tracking. So obviously with Meta Quest 2, you have controllers with which you can interact with, what you're seeing behind your eyes on the headset. With the Meta Quest 3, they have promised that you'll be able to use your hands.
Although it tends to be hardcore gamers that are attracted to these headsets, Vicky says that the new possibilities available when it comes to its uses could bring a wider demographic.
The nice thing about the Meta Quest 3 is its versatility. Meta, perhaps the Quest headsets are best known as things that you use to game with. And there is game capabilities here, but you can also watch television. You can also do an exercise routine. I did a boxing routine on the Quest 3, which is actually surprisingly quite good.
So what's Vicky's verdict out of 5? Well, it's fair to say she was pretty impressed.
I gave it 4 stars, basically, because it is a really impressive bit of kit. You can tell that Meta's put a lot of effort into it. The technology is mind-bogglingly good, really advanced, like top of the range, basically. But the mixed reality element, while really impressive, I think Meta's still working out what they want to do with it yet. So currently it does feel like a gimmick and less like a massive, world-changing, oh my God. And in addition to that, the price point as well just brings it down simply because it just makes it less accessible.
You can read Vicky Jessop's full review of the Meta Quest 3 at standard.co.uk. We'll leave a link in our show notes. If you fancy living to 100 or older, then you'll want to listen closely to this one. The largest study of centenarians' blood might have revealed some clues to help people live longer lives. Scientists, including those from the Karolinska Institute, assessed the data on blood molecules from over 44,500 Swedes who underwent clinical testing between 1985 and 1996 and followed up till 2020. The analysis found 12 blood-based molecules associated with metabolism, inflammation, as well as liver and kidney function that were also linked to aging or mortality in previous studies. The results suggest that people who are 100 or older tend to have lower levels of glucose, creatinine, and uric acid from their 60s onwards. Now, what do people like Schmeichel, Cech, and Casillas all have in common? Well, besides being among those considered to be the greatest goalkeepers of all time, they might actually perceive the world differently too. A study suggests that goalies' brains appear to be able to merge signals from the different senses more quickly, possibly explaining some of their unique and specialised abilities on the football pitch. Researchers at Dublin City University and University College Dublin recruited 60 professional goalkeepers, outfield players and age-matched non-players to do a series of tests looking for their differences in their ability to distinguish sounds and flashes as separate from one another. The study, published in Current Biology, found that goalkeepers had a narrower temporal binding window relative to other players. This is the time frame in which different sensory signals are fused together in the brain. Let's go to the ads. Coming up, how foxes constantly defecating in a man's garden led him to create the Furbinator 3000. Why not hit rate and follow in the meantime? Welcome back. A so-called breakthrough study suggests that running could be just as effective at treating depression with medication. The yet-to-be peer-reviewed research was presented at the 36th European College of Neuropsychopharmacology Congress and found that running also showed more benefits compared to antidepressants whose effects on physical health slightly worsen over time. The study compared the effects of antidepressants with running for anxiety, depression, and overall health in over 140 patients. The researchers say it's important to note that antidepressants have been found to be safe, effective, and work for most people, but they are calling for extending the treatment options available with exercise therapy. Scientists are saying that some ultra-processed foods should be labelled addictive. The team of international researchers behind the paper, which has been published on the BMJ, say the way some people consume foods that are high in fat and carbohydrates could meet the criteria for diagnosis of substance use disorder. Behaviours which could meet this criteria include intense cravings, symptoms of withdrawal, less control over intake, and continued use despite such consequences as obesity, binge eating disorder, poorer physical and mental health, and lower quality of life. The academics also pointed to a previous analysis of 281 studies from 36 different countries, which found that ultra-processed food addiction is estimated to occur in 14% of adults and 12% of children. And finally, a man from Surrey got so fed up with foxes and badgers pooing in his garden that he decided to take matters into his own hands. He linked the Ring cameras at his home to a device that emits high-frequency sounds. He then trained the system using hundreds of images of the nocturnal animals, so it learned to trigger the noise when it spotted them. The gadget, named the Furbinator 3000, has reportedly managed to keep his garden clean ever since. Although it's important to note that ultrasonic deterrents are controversial because of their potential negative effects on animals. You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m. for the Leader podcast from the Evening Standard. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. See you then.